things off, yeah, we're going to touch on a little bit of Diablo Immortal. I did get to finally start playing it, although admittedly I haven't gotten to play still anywhere near as much as Phoenix and JC. But I guess I'll give my opinion for some of my really basic opinions on it, seeing as how I'm kind of the last one getting to it. But I would say it does very much follow a lot of the like framework of especially Diablo 3, I would say more specifically. It does feel like they've brought back many characters and even the opening storylines, if I'm not mistaken. Feel free to correct me, Phoenix. So you probably played 3 more than me.
I'm not a lore buff enough. That's where JC would be able to fill it in. She was telling me it actually lines up more with Diablo 2 in some ways. I don't know. I mean, it
I
feels
just
very
mean the
familiar.
king part. Like that was still an opening section of 3 was you went to go face that same demon king or whatever at the very beginning.
Was it still the same one? Because
Yeah,
they've
it
had a
was
few different kings. I mean, I know they mentioned Leoric, which was the
I thought
king
he
from
did.
3. I mean, as I said, I'm not super sure. I mean, he seemed a little different in this one, but I wasn't. I'll be honest. I've been skipping all the story elements of
I'm
the
the same
game.
one. But
So
I totally agree. Like for me, a lot of the game, a lot of the plot and like story, what's actually happening, I don't feel it feels like more Diablo, and it's not something I particularly have been like very much wanting to get deep into. But I will say, I think Phoenix mentioned you mentioned it in our previous episode. It is, even though it is, I feel like it is the kind of game that like at one point there will be a point when it's probably monetized all the heck, and I'll notice, all of the pay to win type stuff eventually. But I will say, in terms of the game mechanics, you mentioned it. It's oddly really good for like a mobile game. And maybe
hmm
it's because I'm not too familiar with mobile games. I've told Phoenix and stuff. I don't really play games on my phone that often, but this feels like really good. Like how they were able to make every single button and like I don't know, every attack kind of just work. It all just feels right on the little phone. Like is that you mentioned that, right?
yeah, and I think that's really it's the great thing about this game, but I think it's also the part that I think
The detriment.
well, okay, I'm not gonna say detriment. I think the fact this game is so good is what makes it so disappointing hearing about, the terrible microtransaction ridden in game that you're getting to because it almost comes across more exploitative. They clearly put a lot of effort into this game to hook you in. And I mean, I haven't even finished the whole main campaign yet. I think I'm level like 45 or
Me
something like
neither.
that.
You guys are way past me.
So, I mean, there's a lot of free content here. I mean, if you're someone who really can just stay focused on only playing the free content, there is some meat here, but that doesn't change the fact that it's exploitative from everything I'm seeing online. As soon as you reach that
Mhm.
end game point, you're capped, and unless you're willing to throw some money at it, then you're kind of out of luck as far as normal progression. So I guess it's just a shame because it does play really really well. It feels like Diablo 3. The fact that I can just be anywhere and hop in and do a rift for a few minutes is really nice. I can play it on the go like that. The PC version, of course, is nice for those who want to have the functionality go back and forth between the platforms. So
And they
every
made it really easy to like. Oh, sorry, cut
no,
you
go
off.
ahead. What are you saying?
No, so they make it really easy. Like anytime you need to like quick react with a button, like if you come across items to pick up, like immediately like that little hand
Yeah,
signal will pop up
yeah,
when you
very
just pick up the
contextual.
item, or if there's a portal nearby, you hit that same button, it'll take you a auto walk to the portal. It's
hmm
like they made everything like super quick and snappy.
Right.
So I don't know.
Yeah, no, it plays great. And I mean, if I'm hesitant to recommend it now after seeing everything so crazy, like I'll say this: if you are someone who truly can restrict yourself from getting caught up in the microtransaction stuff, well, that's hard to say. I mean, here's the thing: most people think they can. I mean, they usually think a little more highly of
I'm
themselves than they
I'm
actually
really
are.
good at that. I'm really good. Destiny is the only game in the last like maybe 5 to 10 years where I feel like I've put any money into. Destiny's the only one.
Well, that's good, and I'm similar. I don't throw a lot of money at these kind of games, but here's the thing: I'm hesitant to recommend it, even if you think you're one of those people who's like, "Nah, I'd never pay a
Well, if
dime in
you
one of
think
these
you are,
games."
then no,
But
no,
even
I
if you
would stay
don't, there are
far away.
people who don't know their limits until they get addicted to something. So
Hmm.
it's just a shame because if this game was just the free to play model, and I mean, of course, it's gonna have some microtransaction stuff, but if it wasn't egregious and exploitative like it is, I would feel better about recommending it. But I'm hesitant because I worry that okay, someone is gonna start playing it, really get into it because the game at its core is a fun game done very well, especially on mobile. Someone's gonna get
So
sucked into that end game, want to progress, and then they're just going to say, be like, you know what, I'll throw $1 in it, I'll throw $2, and you know that's a slippery slope. As soon as you do it, especially on a
So
game like this, you're paying forever.
so Angry Joe earlier in the week, I remember I listened to one of his videos, and he was suggesting that because of that aspect and how he doesn't like the greediness
Mm-hmm.
and the microtransaction pay to win type stuff, he was suggesting that his fans, even just playing the game, in his opinion, was supporting that type of game and that type of mechanics. I mean, would you go that far to say that even if you are able to stay out of doing that and giving them money or, becoming a whale or any of that, do you think even just playing the game supports Blizzard in any sort of way? Just send a bad message?
Yes, I mean, it's different. I mean, yes, most of their money from this is coming from microtransactions, but there's other ways. I mean, the fact that it's going to be, ranked high, the more people who play it, the more publicity it gets, it ranks higher, and then people who don't know any better will get sucked into it. So you are supporting it by playing it. And I said that's why I'm so hesitant to truly recommend it, because you are playing into their hands essentially. Even if you're not the one who gets affected, other people
Hmm.
might, because you're encouraging this type of style of exploitative microtransactions. So I don't know. I mean, I as you can tell, I'm really torn in between. I like the game. Personally, I plan on keep playing it. Me and some people are going to disagree that yeah, I probably shouldn't be playing, but I'm going to play until I get to the end cap where I feel like, okay, I can't progress anymore without paying. I'll feel like I've gotten some free entertainment out of it, and I'll stop. I know it sounds probably a little
I'm
hypocritical, but for me, I feel confident in my spending habits. Oh, my timer already went off. We already talked too long about Diablo. Oh no.
Oh, we
Um,
good. No, I think it's because you you reset it before you started working on some other stuff. Don't worry,
oh man.
just keep going.
Oh, well, for those who aren't paying attention, we are going to try to be more focused on our timing. So I've actually implemented a timer. You'll hear a little alert go off. That means we should be shutting up, but maybe I started that one too early.
I let him out of the basement one day, and he
And now I'm
starts
in
putting
control.
timers on
Adding
everything.
features, adding graphics to everything. Isn't this nice, everybody? For those who are watching on YouTube.
Everyone in the comments, please comment if you want me to put him down back in the basement.
Oh, well, then you're going back to only seeing Chaz's face. So really think about what you're buying into now. But anyways,
But yeah, I agree. I'm very comfortable in my ability to not spend money on a game, and the same way, like I'm casually enjoying it so far. So I'm same boat. I'm gonna play it until the very end, and when I feel like the egregious play to win or play to advance microtransaction things start to kick in, I'll move on to something else. I mean, I don't know.
right.
I've always been pretty good about not throwing money at a game. I feel like I will say the only other game that I did throw money at was I guess Halo Infinite. Technically, I probably gave them.
Now for
I
the
know
battle pass.
I know I bought the bunny ears too, so that
Oh,
may have been like 20, $25 I probably threw at them or something.
yeah.
But
But still, although yeah, they have microtransactions built in, but it's not exploitative to the nature that Diablo is. Because with that, you know what you're buying, right? You buy this cosmetic, you get that cosmetic, you're fine. This,
hmm
it's more the gambling nature. There was a guy, I think I saw it on, was it Kotaku article? Some guy basically just kept throwing money to see how long it would take him to get what is it, the rarest gem, it's like a 5-star gem. It took him like 6,000 American dollars, and he still didn't get it. Like, think about that. So that the number that they're throwing around for maxing out your character has been like $100,000, but that's considering decent odds. The thing is, this game has no guarantee you're going to have decent odds. So it might be 100,000. I've heard estimates going for like 500,000 up to 1 million. Like, there's no real set number on this because it's all randomized. That is insane. Like, what kind of game is they going to want to, well, not want to play, because people will play this game and put money into it, but this game's not worth putting your time in for $1 million to get a maxed out character. It's not worth doing that for $100, in
do
my opinion.
you? I don't know if we've talked about this topic, but now that well, it hasn't even happened, it hasn't even occurred yet. But do you foresee this type of greediness, type of just odd things to put into a video game? Do you think this kind of things will continue
Oh,
once
yes.
the Microsoft purchase will go through? You still think those still be implemented?
Hopefully not as egregiously, but Yeah, I mean, Microsoft does microtransactions in their games, like Halo Infinite.
Halo Infinite,
Yeah, I
yeah.
mean, once again, it's not to that level, and I'm not sure exactly how far they'll want to push it. But you got to think too, this game is also in a different space. The mobile space is known for games like this that have some really egregious policies. I think this is the first time that like kind of normal core gamers who don't really dabble in mobile games are experiencing that, because we're used to kind of the console side where you have like you have horse armor from back in the day and standard kind of battle passes that you'd buy, but we're not used to thousands and thousands of dollars necessarily. We'd have to invest in a game. The mobile market is, so they're treading some kind of weird waters here, and they're trying to yank the core gaming infrastructure into that
They
mobile stuff.
better they better watch it, because if you know as well as anybody, if they move any of this type of things over to Diablo 4 when that comes out, I think Diablo 4 could be the nail in the coffin for, like, I know Blizzard at this moment still probably doesn't have much goodwill left in terms of
Mm.
the community and their true fan bases, because apparently World of Warcraft, apparently those numbers have been continuously dipping over the years. And I know, what was it, Warcraft,
Oh,
what was
the
that, horribly,
remaster, whatever it was of Warcraft
Warcraft
1.
Reforged, I
Yeah,
think, or
that's what it was.
something. That game was horribly received. I know a lot of other things that they have, it's just not been received well. And I think if they were to, um, I don't know, if they were to crap the bed for Diablo 4, I think that could very well be the last. I mean, I'm sure they could do something to bring people back, but that really seems like a game they have to get right.
Yeah, no,
You know what I
I
mean?
don't disagree with that, especially something that anticipated. Like, we've already heard like rumblings that Overwatch 2 is not what people are wanting it to be. So that's not exactly, a feather in Blizzard's cap right
Hmm.
now. And you're right, like World of Warcraft has been dipping. I know they've been still, I think they just add like new content recently, but the problem is there's a lot
It
more
wasn't. Yeah.
there's more competition in that space. World of Warcraft is not the main entity like it used to be. And you're right, Diablo is now getting dragged down a little bit too. So I don't know. I mean, I hope Microsoft has some rationale to pull things back. Honestly, I think what's going to happen is there will be some pullback here, even from Blizzard as it is. This is how all these systems work, right? They go as far as they possibly think they can go as soon as the game launches, and then they go, we're sorry, and they start pulling stuff back to where it's a little more reasonable. So I think some changes will probably come. I don't think it's never going to be what we want it to be, where it's just like you pay
Yeah.
a flat fee or something like that. It's going to
And
be still kind of exploitative no matter what.
I still think fans, no matter how hateful or down on something they get, fans will come back if you put out something good. But you have to, like, really go in on it. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I don't think they can you can ever fully drive away all of your people, but like you can definitely, like, I just think people are dormant. People will go dormant until they get something that reminds me of what made them happy. You know what I mean? And it's
Yeah, I think the problem too, though, to a certain extent, is how the core gamers aren't usually the main market for a lot of this, especially the mobile market. So I think maybe
Mhm.
that plays into like World of Warcraft. Those are usually the core gamer types, but Diablo, although there is that component to it, that was a more casual style. Like my wife, who is not, I would say, a real core gamer, plays a lot of Diablo. So with that in mind, like there's a larger consumer base I'm sure Blizzard is kind of appealing to, that even if the core gamer's like, I don't like how you handle this particular aspect of the game, as long as it appeals to the mass market, that's going to keep Blizzard going one way or the other. Like here's the thing, like Diablo Immortal, it's a good game. Yes, the core gamers are up in arm about it. It's going to make Blizzard a lot of money, and they're just going to look at that as a good thing, and they're going to continue doing that. So
I just think with this game it would have looked better if this launched alongside a new Diablo title. Like if this was more a supplemental versus, I mean, it's the same thing with the event when it got showed. It was like, everyone was like, "Wait, you're finishing the show with this? This
mm-hmm.
is not how you should finish your show. Like this should be, hey, look, this is what we have, but we have this." You know what I mean? It to me, it wholly feels like it should have been supplemental in the same boat as, remember when Fallout 4 came out and
It
they
Fallout
showed
Shelter.
Fallout Shelter. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
like you said it right. The primary community for this game is not looking for a mobile game. Like it should be like a supplemental. This will hold you off until this. You know what I mean? And I guess technically they have done that, but
I guess what I'm saying
Diablo
though is
4, we
they
still don't know
are.
when that's coming.
It seems like at least with this Diablo mobile game, they're trying to broaden their horizons on their consumer base. Like their core audience is what they've relied on for so long. But if they can appeal in this regard to a larger fan base, which they clearly are going to with this mobile game, it's a bigger market, and it's a fun game. It's not going to take much to hook people into it. That's even if their next few games flop, that's going to still encourage them to keep some of these practices, I think. But either way, okay, I think we really have gone too long now on Diablo. So last thoughts.
I guess just kind of last thoughts is I would just say I'm enjoying the game. I do want to continue playing, but stay tuned because when I hit that, when I hit the microtransaction wall, that's when that podcast episode is going to be fire because I want to rip on it.
Fair enough. Well, I'll just say I cannot give it a whole earnest recommendation like I did last week. Last week was before I really knew anything about all this egregious stuff. I enjoy the game. I'm already kind of hooked in it, but with a good conscience, I'm not going to recommend anybody listening to go and try it out. Here's the thing, too. I mean, it's Diablo 3. So if you already have Diablo 3, go play that.
Go play Diablo 3. Yeah.
I mean, the only nice thing about this is it's mobile, so it's a little more accessible. But hey, Diablo 3 is on the Switch. Even if it costs you a little bit to go get that version of the game, go get that. You'll get just as much fun out of it, and you won't have to pay them $1 million to get to the max character. I would even say
go play that new Diablo 2 remaster that came out.
Resurrected, yeah.
That's probably a more fun experience than, I don't know, it's more true to the Diablo
Well, it's that,
game.
And once you pay however much you pay for the game, you're done. And that, at least for me, I prefer that kind of model. Not that that's the case for everything, but for this, yeah, go that route.
Have you played with any groups lately? Because I know there's been a couple like places for dungeons when it said, "Would you like to play with people?" And both times I said no. I ran through it by myself with no help.
Oh yeah, I've been going in with the random parties. They work just fine. There's no lag or anything.
You can make it through them solo though. That's why I was just like.
Yeah, the problem is like sometimes you get better rewards if you have other people and they like add boosts and stuff to it. So I mean, if you can, but it plays well. That's what I'm gonna go back on a rant if I don't keep moving on. So let's keep on going. All right,
we'll move on.
New timer. Here we go. Starting now.